What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into the video. So today we are talking Webull's price ladder, but we're actually talking about how to utilize this feature with options. It is new. We have not been able to do this actually up until recently, and there are still some quirks. We'll talk about those quirks. How you want to play it is ultimately going to be up to you. We've got some other great videos and Webull tutorials already on our Webull playlist here on the channel, but this is going to be the price ladder. If you're not familiar with the price ladder, here we are on my Webull layout, and as we speak right now, we are looking at the price ladder, which is right over here where I'm hovering over, okay? And we're looking at charge point, CHPT. I'm going to use this stock as an example because I actually am holding one more option. I sold one earlier, but I'm holding one option here, one call option on this stock, and I want to utilize the price ladder to show you how to enter buy or sell orders and different types of orders and how we can use that for options, okay? So this is actually really, really cool. Now, a couple key things we need to understand beforehand. This price ladder is how we're going to be able to get in and out of trades very, very fast. It's very similar to TD Ameritrade's price ladder. If you guys know TD Ameritrade's Thinkorswim platform, you will probably have seen this in other videos, or you maybe have found it yourself. This, up in the top right, there's a widget toolbox. You will click on that widget toolbox. It'll bring up this widget window right here. You're going to go over to trade, and you're going to go to price ladder. That's now how you pull it up. And then I have mine overlaid on my trading, at least my trading widget section, where I go back and forth between active trade, or I go back and forth between classic trade and the price ladder if I want to, okay? This is actually really, really cool and really, really useful to get in and out of trades very, very fast. That's why people love it, and it's very easy to visualize. You can set your price targets, and you're in and out very, very quickly if you need to be. Now, there's also other features. There's the active trade features. There's even hotkeys that you can utilize on the Webull platform. But this price ladder is what we're going to focus on here. So I am on a stock, CHPT, it's Charge Point Holdings, okay? I bought these options actually yesterday. I sold one today, and now I'm letting the last one ride, and ultimately I'm looking for a move up into over 1750 or so as my target zone that I'm looking at. But that aside, how can I use this price ladder feature to trade options, okay? I currently have CHPT actually filled in here on my widget. Now, make sure, if you're curious on how this stuff works and how to make sure I change it on one place, it changes everywhere. If I was to go up and change CHPT on any of my widgets, they are all set. I got to make sure it's set as group 1. If it's set to group 1, when I change it on this layout, it's going to change where every single widget that has group 1 set in the top right. Okay, this light little blue symbol. That's what that means, right? By change it somewhere, it's going to change everywhere that it has group 1 selected, okay? So that's actually very, very important, okay? Now I'm on the chart for the stock, and if I was to go and change this to, let's say, Tesla, TSLA, what's going to happen? Well, now our price ladder is now populated with Tesla price points. Okay, cool, awesome. Let's go back to CHPT, okay? An EV charging company. So with CHPT, I go to the option chain, okay? I have the option widget selected. I go to the option chain. And again, if you have questions on the platform, the layouts, there's already plenty of videos on this channel and on our Webull playlist. If you want to go back and see, how things are set up, how we set this layout up, what things we like to look at, and all that good stuff. Now I'm on the option chain. I have both selected. I can go to calls, I can go to puts, I can go to both. I can select, 30 strikes, 50 strikes, all strikes, 5 strikes, whatever I want to do, okay? Now, I'm going to target or pick, right, an option contract that I want. So right now, I am going to look to the March 18th option contracts and see I have a P1 right here that says I have a position of 1 contract on the $15 calls that are out to the expiration of March 18th, okay? Awesome. Now, how do I pull up the chart of this option contract? Well, if I was to go and click into this option contract, for example, if I was to go and click ahead here on the percentage of the implied volatility on this option, well, now all of a sudden, what just happened up in the top right? See how it says CHPT $15, 18 March 2022 call 100? Now we are looking at the quote and the price, the last price, at least Webull's got right here, that they have for these options. Now, guess what? Everywhere that has group 1 is now going to show. So look at this. On our now price ladder, we're looking at the $15 calls, okay? See the prices? This stock is currently trading up around $17 per share, okay? But now these options, okay, are actually now populated on our price ladder, okay? So now we can enter that trade. Be really careful if you are going to click on this and you happen to click on the bid or the ask. What ends up happening is it's going to take you right to the order entry. We kind of want to avoid that, okay? You want to make sure you click on the percentage change or like, let's say the implied volatility. If you click on one of those, it's just going to populate us into that specific contracts chart, into that quote, into their level 2, and it's going to populate that up for us, okay? So, because we're going to enter our orders in on a different spot, okay? We have some videos going over how to trade options on the platform, you know, all that good stuff, which we utilize, you know, doing this and the order entries and how that works and the graph and the chart and all that stuff. But in this case, we're not actually looking to do that. Now, if I go over to my chart again, right, I have now selected, right, this $15 call for next week's expiration when I'm filming this video, right? I go to the chart. We are now looking and see how it's not as, you know, very filled in. It's kind of choppy, and see that because there's less volume. There's not as much volume on these contracts compared to actual shares of the underlying stock. And so that's what we're seeing, right? You're seeing how this is working. But now you're seeing the history of this option contract over time, right? We're looking at a 5-minute chart, so it goes back a couple of days, and you can see how this option has traded back over the past couple of days and see how it's making some nice strides and see where my average is and all that good stuff. Now, this populates us into this this price ladder. So if I scroll down the price ladder, I'm just going to scroll down to show you guys. It'll now show me a little P where my average is. So I have a position 1 at a 130 cost basis, okay? Now as I scroll up, it'll go till, or it'll populate now where it's in gray. That is the current price. That's between the bid and the ask. That's kind of right our middle ground, right? The ask right now is up here. The bid is down here. And so you can kind of see that according to level 2, bid is at 234, ask is at 243. So somewhere in between you'll get filled. Now, if I wanted to sell, right, one of my contracts, I'll have to indicate how many contracts I want to sell right here up in the top left of the widget. Okay, so 1. And then on the right-hand side, I will go on the ask and see how it says sell limit. It'll sell me with a limit order. So if I want to sell this, I'm going to go up to, let's say, 260 or 270. Boom. I put a limit order in it. Boom, look at that. See how it now populated on the chart? A 270 limit order sell has now been set for one contract. That's as easy as that's it. It's so easy. That's all you got to do, which is why people love this platform or love using the ladder, right? And so you'll be able to see the price as it's moving up along, right? And if it hits your sell, it'll obviously just take it out. But that's one way to do it instead of manually entering your prices and all that stuff. All you got to do is click, okay? A couple of things to customize. I'm going to get rid of that order because I don't actually want to sell it. I'm going to let this thing ride out because I got about a week on it. And as long as the market kind of, ends up holding, or the current trend in the market that we're seeing, we could see a little bit higher. So I have already taken profits on one. Now my stop loss is getting moved up into break even. So ideally right now, I'll move my stop loss up to like 150. I'll move it up to, let's say, 175 and so forth as time goes on. How do I do that? Well, if I go down underneath the current bid and ask, see where it says sell limit? That eventually changes to sell stop. If I go below the current bid price, it's going to now put a stop loss order. So I am now going to go down to, let's say, 197 and put a sell stop right there. If I click on sell stop right there on that red, now it immediately just entered in a stop loss order at 197. So I can now essentially minimize the backside of this and lock in gains and move my stop loss up over time. And that's one way to do it, okay? Pretty straightforward. Now, I can also go ahead and buy. So if I wanted to buy, let's say, a contract, but I don't want to pay what we're paying right now, I want to pay 210 or less, I go to buy limit, and now I have a buy order set for 210 or less. Just like that. So that's one way to play it when it comes to using the price ladder. And I, of course, can do a stop limit order on the buy side too. So I click on buy stop, and that'll essentially, if we break over that price point, it'll then put the order in and buy the contract for me, okay? Pretty straightforward, pretty easy. There's this order confirmation button right here that you can click or unclick. If you click on that order confirmation button, it's going to confirm your order every time. That will obviously slow down the speed of use. So after you get a feel for things, I would recommend clicking that off. But if it's kind of a good catch in case, you just can double check, okay, how many contracts did I put in if you messed that up or whatever, right? Auto is fine right there. I would say stop limit or limit orders instead of limit orders only. That's going to allow you to use stop losses or stop limits depending upon the price point that you're setting. And then increments, okay? If you don't want to look at every 1 cent, or if you're looking at contracts that are a lot more expensive or whatnot, or more volatile potentially, well, I can go over to increments and type in 5 cents. now these contracts are going to populate every 5 cents. And so it allows me to kind of go up and down my list or up and down this price ladder a lot faster because now they're in increments of 5 cents. And I can, of course, change it back down to 1 cent if I would like to. In this case, 1 cent's fine. I can just quickly scroll through and get to what I need to get to. Now, the thing about this that is a little bit challenging that I do want to kind of point out the quirk, okay? It's not perfect. Why? Because what you might want to be looking at is you might want to have the chart of the stock on one side, and then you want to have this pulled up on as well. So I don't really care, to be honest, that I'm looking right now at the price of the option. I might want to be I'm more inclined to look at the price of the stock. So I'm going to go back to charge point. When I do that though, because I have these set as the same group, it's going to immediately change my price ladder back to just looking at the stock, right? Just looking at the shares, the share price, which I might not be super, inclined to want to do all the time. But to get back to what we were just looking at, to get back to that option, we'll either have to go back to the option chain, select our option and click on it again to be able to look at the chart and to be able to pull it up here on the price ladder, or I'll have to either change my grouping of my groups. So let's say I want to make this set as group 2, so that's not going to correlate and change when I change, let's say, my chart on one page. So it really comes down to preference and how you want to play things. Also, if you go up into the watch list tab and I go to my positions, you'll notice that my positions right here, you'll be able to pull up charge point and click on it from there, and it will open up everything, and it will open up the ladder and all that good stuff as well. So you can do it that way as well. It's not perfect. It's not the easiest, because when you're looking at an option, you have to kind of work and figure out with yourself what works best for you, how you want to customize your groups of your different, widgets, so that I can look at the chart of the actual stock, and then I can also have the option contract pulled up in my price ladder, and I can trade the options here while looking at the stock price here. So it comes down to personal preference, however you want to play things, however you want to mess things around, however you want to change things. Ultimately, it's up to you. So give it a try. Ultimately, it comes down to your personal preference and how you want to arrange things for yourself, but it's a really cool feature that I think a lot of people don't even realize exists right now on the Webull platform. If you have other questions, leave them in the comment section down below. If you have other questions and you want to potentially find answers right away without leaving a comment, there probably is a video already on the channel that maybe answers those questions, especially when it comes to the Webull platform. We have a full Webull playlist linked on the playlist tab here right on the home page of our channel. Definitely check that out. Make sure you are subscribed. If you have not used Webull, there's actually a link to get 5 free stocks down in the video pinned comment and description box. Take a look at that as well. Other links and resources down there if you're interested, and we'll see you guys in a future video. Peace.